I had a 9-year apprenticeship, but when I was 19 years old, my uncle found the Lord. Actually, I guess it'd be better to say the Lord found me uncle. He became a minister. He went over to England to be ordained and then ended up being called to a parish down in Virginia. So suddenly I was a master of my own print shop, but I didn't actually own it. You see, my uncle still owned the buildings and the press. It took me almost 5 years to pay him off. So while I ran the shop, I put every penny of profit into paying down the debt that I owed to my uncle. I even slept on a mattress under the counter in the shop and lived on nothing but pepper pot stew and bread bought out at the market right outside my door. There were only 2 luxuries that I allowed myself. And as you'll soon see, there was a purpose behind these allowances. I was a member of 2 exclusive gentlemen's clubs, the Gloucester County Fox Hunting Association and the State in Schuylkill, which back then was called the Colony in Schuylkill, an exclusive fishing club. I joined these clubs because despite the expense, and they were expensive, in addition to the subscription fee, there were uniforms for each club, equipment, incidentals, whiskey. But these clubs also counted among their members some of the most important men in Philadelphia. I couldn't tell you exactly how many printers there were in Philadelphia when I took over the business, but by the end of the century, there were over 50. A man who wants to do business needs to distinguish himself in that crowd. Hobnobbing with the elite of the city was one way to make that happen. It's always who you know, isn't it? So, as I was saying, other than those 2 clubs, which were really business expenses if you think about it, I didn't spend money on anything other than food and clothes until I paid off my debt. One of the reasons for that is I met this girl. Well, not a woman, of course, not a girl. But anyway, I wanted to marry her, but I didn't want to get married in debt because all the fellas will tell you that's a tough sell there. So I got the final payment together in December of 1772. I paid my uncle in January of 73, and Elizabeth and I were married in February. So by 1773, I'd come a long way from the 10-year-old immigrant boy who had first set foot on the streets of Philadelphia. I had a new wife, a successful business, and wealthy, influential friends. Though I started out printing sermons, handbills, and pamphlets, by 1771, I was publishing one of Philadelphia's 4 weekly newspapers, the Pennsylvania Packet and General Advertiser. Well, things were going well for me. The American colonies were not sharing in my good fortune. There's a great deal of political unrest. These troubles with the mother country led to the meeting of the First Continental Congress at Carpenter's Hall in Philadelphia. Being a staunch patriot, I had hoped to be named the official printer to the Congress because, of course, I supported the American cause against the British. And also, government contracts tend to be somewhat lucrative. Unfortunately, I was passed over at that time. Yet, I still wanted to do my part, for it felt as though something momentous was about to occur. No sooner had Congress vacated Carpenter's Hall than myself and 27 other like-minded men of the community formed the Philadelphia Light Horse for the defense of the city and the surrounding countryside. I was elected to the rank of cornet, which is the lowest rank of officer in the cavalry. It was also around this time that my wife introduced me to her great uncle, who had lately returned from more than a decade in England. We ended up getting along quite well. It turns out he even had some experience in the printing trade. His name was Benjamin Franklin. So there it was, 1775. I'm a well-established printer in the city of Philadelphia. I'm known by the city's finest gentlemen. I'm an officer in an elite company of militia. And my uncle by marriage is Benjamin Franklin. It would seem only natural to make me the official printer of the Congress. But they didn't. They gave the post to Robert Aiken. No matter. Surely there must be a way to serve my country and turn a profit. Of course. With a war going on, people need information. Everyone wants to know the latest progress reports of battles, reports of casualties. So I started a second newspaper, Dunlap's Maryland Gazette or the Baltimore General Advertiser. The Congress was not idle during this time. Despite the fact they had no legal authority to govern, they basically assumed all the functions of a government, and that required a lot of things to be printed. It was too much for just one man or one shop to do, so the Congress started to look for additional printers. And of course, they asked people who were from Philadelphia, and the eldest member of the Pennsylvania delegation just happened to be me great uncle by marriage. See, I told you, it's always who you know. I printed continental currency, proclamations, broadsides, and on July 4th, 1776, I was asked to print a very special declaration.